Five, four, three, two, one.
Hello and welcome to Money Matters. I'm Sarah Peterson here with Dean Greenberg, president of Greenberg Financial Group. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, and it's great to see you. It's been a little bit of time.
It has been a little bit of time. And speaking of president, how relevant was that? We have a lot of changes, a lot of things going on in this country, so we're going to have a lot to talk about today.
We sure will.
We absolutely will. Let's get to it because I want to address the elephant in the room. There's a big administrative change happening currently right now, and I think everyone is curious as to how that's going to affect the bottom line, right? Their money.
Yes, there's 100% it's going to change. And there's 100% you're going to see the biggest change is going to be the tax situation. And I've said that for months before the election, that if Trump didn't get in, we'll see taxes go up. If Trump gets in, you're going to see taxes go down, and there's going to be a lot of other things that happen. I personally am very excited to see what's going to happen with the economy. I'm always the economy first because I always believe if the economy is doing well, all these other things that we look at and think about and care about fall into place. Obviously, there's been a lot of problems across the board. There are things that have to happen. Do I think he can fix everything? No. Do I think there's going to be some good stuff happening? Yes. The biggest thing, and people forget this, or maybe because they don't understand it, regulations, when Biden has been in the last 4 years, have increased. So the more regulations we put on companies, put on people, the more cost things happen. You take away regulations, the next thing you know, people can grow, they can do better, they don't have to raise prices, and inflation starts coming down.
Speaking of inflation, I mean, that's a big concern for a lot of people.
That's why, obviously, the Republicans had an incredible sweep of offices there because people can't afford stuff. Mm-hmm. All right, where's it start? It starts with energy. And I believe what's going to happen, oil prices are going to come down, gas prices are going to come down, transportation is going to become cheaper, and you're going to see that move over into the inflation world. Why? Because if we start drilling more than we're doing, because we have, what do they say, 100 years of reserves there, Middle East isn't going to sit back and say, oh, I'm going to go ahead and restrain how much oil we're going to do. They're going to start pumping, and everyone's going to start pumping, which means you got more of a supply. And when we have more of a supply than we do a demand, prices come down. And I believe that's what's going to happen.
So you're very optimistic. A lot of good things are on the horizon now.
I think as an economic situation for the next 2 to 4 years, I think good things are going to happen. The number one thing, and I talk to a lot of people about this, they don't really understand it, but the DOGE, the DOGE, Department of Government Equity or, expenditures, that to me is the greatest thing that is going to come out of this. We need to make the government smaller. We need to reduce the size of all these departments. We don't need all the fat. Okay, as a household, it's no different. Our $32 trillion debt with interest rates where they are is too expensive for us to pay. We need to figure it out. And the fact that he got a politician and a businessman, and then a businessman who happens to be the richest man in the world, and brilliant together is fantastic. Does it make a lot of people mad? They used to love Elon Musk. Now they hate him. At the end of the day, to me, that's a great recipe for getting things done because he doesn't care. He will just do what he needs to do and start making suggestions of where we got to do. With a smaller government and a more confident situation, our economy is going to do well, and we're going to create more jobs for the people that need them.
So if our economy is going to do well and there's more money, circulating, what does that mean for somebody who is looking towards retirement?
What does it mean for retirement? Well, the one thing is, right now, you got to be looking at interest rates. And I have no problems with people locking in for a little bit longer term than short. And right now, where you get the most interest is short term. So no one wants to go out 5 or 7 years. I'm suggesting to people do a ladder to where you got some 5 and 7 year instruments paying you the income over 4.5% or so. Reason being is if interest rates end up coming down and inflation's coming down, we stimulate the economy, those interest rates come down. As a retiree, you're not going to get the same amount of interest you're getting now. That's one of the reasons when you look at annuities, with the interest rates where they are, can I lock in that guaranteed income at a higher price? That's what I think annuities are good for, is being able to get that guaranteed income to make up that gap down the road where they fit in. So there's a lot of things you got to look at, but it all comes back to, we always talk about the financial plan. You need a plan. And 99.9% of the people, no matter how much money they have that come to our office, have to do this financial plan now. They want to do it because no one's ever made it to where it's something to do. Now they're hearing about it, they all want to do it.
Well, I think when big things happen, when big shifts happen, such as an administrative change, and this one seems so monumental, that is actually like something that will spur people on to maybe make a change. They've been sort of thinking about it and ruminating on it, but you know what? Maybe now is the time if they haven't thought about these things, as there's so much change on the precipice.
Well, it's so important because especially if you're coming into retirement or you're in your 60s, you know, do I start taking Social Security now or later? It's amazing how many people come to us and they're not sure when to take it still. You know, they hear different things from their friends. Don't go to your friends and let them tell you. Come to someone that understands and can show you why it's good or bad to take it early or not take it.
Don't go to Google and put your information in there and make that your financial plan, right?
Right, exactly.
So now is the time. This is something that we offer that's so special for the viewers of the show, that you create this financial plan that's individualized for that person. This is not a cookie cutter thing, based on their needs, their desires, what they envision for their retirement. What are their dreams? And you help to make that a reality.
Well, people that just try to put things in as a cookie cutter and have the same results doesn't work. Anyone that's using a financial plan to just sell a product, it doesn't work. You do the financial plan because everyone is different. Some people want to travel, some people don't. Some people are frugal, some people want to spend more money. Some people are getting retirement and pensions, some people aren't. You've got to figure out what's best for that person. And then, what is their risk tolerance? What is their risk desires? Some people say they have risk tolerance, and then the markets go down 3% and they're freaking out. Or, you know what, the market's going up, and they're like, oh, I'm not making that enough money. You have to set what their expectations up front. And the best way to do it is when you do it with a financial plan to show them what they can expect.
And it's just so much easier than I think anyone would think. All they need to do is call that number on the screen, 520-544-4909. Give you guys a call, and you take it from there, bringing your statements. And your statements are not the plan, right? So this is just where we start. But this is conversation number one to get them on the road to
It's
retirement.
a 3-4 meeting process. I mean, absolutely. There's a lot of things that go on. And then, the one thing that we do that's different than most financial advisors, planners, whatever you talk about, we actually manage the money. So at the end, we become accountable with our people to make them or lose them money. You know what I mean? Depending what's going on.
I'm going to cut you off there. We're going to take a quick commercial break. But when we come back, I want to talk more about how you manage these financial plans. Stay with us.
This is Money Matters with Dean Greenberg of the Greenberg Financial Group. I'm Spike Spangle. Dean, what really got you started in this industry?
It was because I was working for Ford Motor Company. I had ordered all the dealerships, and I kind of looked at things and I said, this is not what I want. So I went back and got my MBA in finance and investments and said, I'm going to work on Wall Street. I didn't really know the journey I was going to have until later on, 1987, when the market crashed.
Yeah. Black Monday.
Black Monday. The only person in a company of 600 and some odd brokers. I was buying IBM, and I opened a $500,000 account. So they say to me, hey, this is unbelievable. How did you do this? What did you do? I just said, because I thought it was the right thing to do. Down 20%, it was probably a good time to buy, and I was more of a technician and an advisor and an educator at that time. Long story short, they tell me a week later I never owned the stock. The back offices back then could not handle 1 billion shares a day. So a week and a half later, they tell me I don't own it, and I needed to call the client to tell them they didn't own the stock. And I told them that they should pay the client. Next day I came in, my box of stuff was in there, and they told me I was fired. And I went to go see the guy I knew to go get a job. And he said, Dean, I'd hire you tomorrow, but you need to start your own business. I laughed at him and said, how am I going to start my own business? I only have $5,000. He said, figure it out. We're all salesmen. You educate. You care about the markets. You care about your clients. So I guess I figured it out.
Hello and welcome back to Money Matters. I'm Sarah Peterson here with Dean Greenberg of Greenberg Financial Group. And we were talking before the break about the importance of a financial plan, but I want to get a little bit more into who needs a financial plan, because I think a lot of people sit here and watch the show and they think, do I have enough? How much do I need to have? And that's such an interesting question.
Everyone needs a plan. And the plan isn't just for your financial plan, it's your estate plan. Okay, it's your tax plan. Everything has a plan. It all is interactive. Now, who needs a plan? I say everyone, and I mean that. But the difference is what kind of plan do you need? We have people that come in, they're just starting a family. They're in their 30s, 40 years old. Their plan is totally different than someone that comes 55, 60, 65, 70, and 80 years old. Every plan is different. A lot of people 80 plus, what is their plan? Keep my money. I want the legacy. I want it to go to these kids. This is what I need you to help me with. Estate planning, so important as they get over 50 years old. Where's the money going to go? How is it going to go? How is it going to be dispersed? And that's one of the reasons we put together what I consider a family office. People hear family offices, you usually need $100 million, $1 billion. And in that family office, they have their own accountants, their own real estate guys, their own lawyers, you name it. Well, they need it because they're basically a business they're putting together. I came up with the idea to do a family office for the average person. The person that needs the accountant, the estate planner. It's all part of the deal with us. They're all in our office, and we all have our own individual companies, and we work together, which makes it easier for the person that wants to come and have a family office. Help me with my taxes. Help me with my estate planning. And if it's right there, and we all trust each other and build relationships, it makes their life a lot less stressful.
What I love about this is kind of like when you go to the doctor and they say, oh, I did these tests and now I'm going to send you to that, cardiologist and this. Everybody, you get overwhelmed. I don't want to go and do this. Just brings everything together, simplifies it. I think a lot of people who are watching the show think, okay, maybe now is the time to do that because they don't have to take all those extra steps. This is just...
I've always thought about that about the doctors. Why do we have to go, you go to the doctor, oh, you got to go there for the MRI, oh, you got to go there for the CTI, why don't all these doctors get together and have one big office where, hey, come on back, you can have your CT scan, we have that stuff right here. Oh, you need to see a cardiologist, we have 2 cardiologists right here. Independent people, you know why? Because they don't have what it takes to do it on their own. They want to have this management group, they don't want to do it. Doctors, the old school doctors want, but the new school doctors, they don't want. They want to almost punch in their clock and leave.
I see it more too like checks and balances. People are coming to you. You've got all these other team members in there. Yeah. Everybody's working on their own, but you can collaborate when you need to. And it makes me feel as a client that I would be better cared for and that I have more people looking out for my interests.
We hold each other accountable. If somebody needs an accountant and he goes there and I hear from you that he didn't get back and do it, I'm on the phone with him and say, what are you doing? Okay? You give this person the customer service.
Well, let's talk about who else is in your office, because this is not just other people working in your office. You've got family, too. You're a family office.
Well, family office with family.
Yeah.
Well, everybody knows Dylan. I mean, Dylan and I, obviously, father-son. I try to get away with brothers, but that doesn't work too often anymore.
I'll go with that.
But it's great because this is what happened. About 5 years ago, I'm looking around, do I sell the company or not sell the company? And I decided I wasn't selling the company. So if I wasn't going to sell the company, what do I do best? I've been coaching for a long time. I'm very good at putting together teams and being successful. So why don't I make my company the same way? Make it a team approach as opposed to individual approaches, which is what our business is. You have individual advisors, they bring in their own money, they do it. So that's what we've done. And so everybody, as part of my team, works together, knows every account that comes in. Our goals are all as a team. We get paid as a team. We do better or worse with the clients. Clients do better, we do better, the team does better. Vice versa goes the other way. And the number one thing is take care of the client. Build that relationship. So it's not a 1 or 2 year deal, it's a 15, 20-year deal. And the way you do that is customer service. Customer comes first. Answer the phone. I don't want a computer on my phone. Dial 1 for this, dial 2 for that. No, hello, Greenberg Financial Group, how can I help you? Oh, Dylan's not here. Can Dean help you? Could Todd help you? And could Dave help you? Somebody that they've heard on the radio or TV that can help them.
Speaking of radio and TV, that's one thing I really do love about your approach, because you are really focused on the educating piece of the puzzle, which I think is so important, because most of us are not well educated on our financial health, right? We go to school, graduate, get a job, hopefully, right? And then we get paychecks, and nobody really tells you how to invest them, what to do from there, unless you have a parent who's in the industry or somebody who's really guiding you. And so this is nice because you can bring families. You know, I think you encourage children, right? Grandchildren. Right. Everybody should be involved.
If they wanted to, we'd love that to happen. A lot of people don't want to, some older people, old school, don't want their families to know. It's in their trust. I try to encourage them, especially when they're out of town. Hey, when your kids come, hey, can we set a meeting? Can we meet with them? Can we talk to them? Let them know now. And I encourage my clients that have money to spend the money now on their family. Help them in a positive way, not a negative way. Don't pay off their credit cards, okay? But make either do things that help them invest, help them with their Roth IRAs, help them make sure they have enough money in their 401k plans, help them invest for the future. That I do believe in. I also believe in making memories. You know, I've told my kids, my family, listen, we're lucky, things have worked out pretty nicely for us, so I want to spend your inheritance now by taking you on trips. But they don't get the full thing. They have to pay to get there, and then I'll take care of it from there. That way they have some skin in the game, and I have skin in the game, but we have memories that when I'm no longer here, that they'll always remember doing these trips for the last 10, 20 years.
What I love about this is, to me, this sounds like the earlier I get started in the planning process, the more likely that those things, you know, are going to be a reality. Because let's face it, if I'm going to retire next year and I come to you and I don't have enough to do those things, if I don't have enough saved and I don't have enough invested, then we probably have to rethink the date of retirement. So the earlier that you start this process, the more likely you can get to those dreams and goals.
100%. The way it works is, if you're working for a corporate structure, you're only going to make so much money as you move up, no matter where you're at, okay? And the only way you're going to make some good money is you start getting into being COOs, CEOs, you know, and presidents of company, where they're going to give you a pretty nice salary. But no matter what, it's still a salary, and you're paying the most in taxes. So you're going to have to always put away money the entire way through. When you own your own business, it's a lot different, because you're not making that much money when you're starting off. And when you are making money, you're putting it back into your company. So what you really need to do is hope that your company is very successful. So your big kicker is when you sell the company, or you finally get to the point that it's producing a lot and making a lot of money. And most of that time takes people to get to 55, 60 years old. And that's when you start making it to be able to do stuff. And I've seen that happen a lot. You know, when you have your own company, I get it. You're putting money back in, investing in your own company. But
you know what? I'm going to cut you off there. If you're listening and you have your own company and these aren't conversations you've had, you need to give us a call at 520-544-4909. We're going to be back in a few minutes after the commercial. We're going to talk a little bit more about the importance of a financial plan and a couple of other little questions I have stored for you. So see you soon.
The work never seems to end until the day it finally does. After nearly a lifetime on the job, you should be rewarded for all the time you spent working. Whether that's crossing off items on your bucket list, learning a new passion, or rekindling the love of an old one. After all, life isn't over when you stop working. It's the start of an all-new chapter. The one where you're the writer and you get to choose how your story will go. A way to achieve that is by having a clear financial plan to sustain your golden years. The biggest fear most retirees have is if they'll have enough money to maintain the lifestyle they've always enjoyed. Having a plan to help protect you against the curveballs life often throws will help to maintain your lifestyle. Call today to get your free written financial plan so you may live every day to the fullest and enjoy the retirement of your dreams.
Hello and welcome back to Money Matters. I'm Sarah Peterson here with Dean Greenberg, and thank you for joining us again because we have so much to talk about. I really want to get into what's happening with the new administration, and the question of taxes is always on everyone's mind, but now it's the question of tariffs.
I don't think people realize we have tariffs all the time. All right? Biden didn't get rid of Trump's tariffs with China. We have tariffs. They're a tool that we need to use to put ourselves in position of negotiation. Trump's feeling of America first is he's very upset when, let's just say Canada, for instance, that the trade imbalance with them is $100 billion. $100 billion that they get off us that we don't get off them, okay? So if you put tariffs, if they don't make changes to some of the things we need, you put tariffs on their products. Their products are more expensive. We're going to use the products that we want here. Now, I understand some of the stuff that they give to us, we need and all, but he wants to use a tool because when Trudeau, went to see him at Mar-a-Lago, he told them that will crush his Canada's economy. And I love Trump's, his response was, well, maybe you should start thinking about becoming a 51st state, okay? I mean, that type of stuff scares people. I think it's freaking brilliant, okay? Because it's so much laughter, but it tells me that Trump is thinking differently than most. And he basically says, I won't put tariffs on you if you help us fix this trade imbalance, but I don't want people coming across the border. So fix the border and fix the trade imbalance, and you won't get tariffs. Same thing with Mexico. Everyone heard the Mexican president hates Trump. She's been to see him and talk to him already with the idea that we will fix the border. Well, I would love for us to help Mexico become a rich country instead of China getting in there and doing what they're doing. I don't want China in Mexico. There's no reason to have China in Mexico. It is way too close to us to have China in Mexico for many reasons. Get China out of there. Let's clean up the cartels and let's make Mexico a great country.
So you don't think there's anything for people to be afraid of when it comes to their own finances with the tariffs? These are all logical ways that we're trying to promote and grow our economy,
Tariffs,
which is all good.
if we hit these people with tariffs, there's no doubt those products will be more expensive if those tariffs are there, if the companies choose to raise their prices. Remember, if they raise their prices, people then say, okay, let me get the same product differently. Mm-hmm. It's no different than drugs, right? You can get the name brand drug, or you can get the other drug. Okay, what are those called? I can't remember.
Generic.
Generic. You can get peanut butter from Jiffy, or you can get generic peanut butter from the same thing called Costco, which is the same, probably Jiffy. We all know that, but for some reason we love labels in our country and stuff. So generic will pick up. People will make adaptations to go ahead and stay there. Now, transportation's cheaper, technology's better. They don't necessarily have to raise their prices right away.
Do you think it will encourage smaller businesses in the United States to start trying to take some of that business away?
Absolutely, and it will help businesses in the United States. If you're a total U.S. business, you're going to be in great shape. That's the idea behind it. Let's grow those businesses. Now, people say, well, he's just going to be an isolationist. No, he's not. He wants us to be strong. People are afraid of us being strong. They talk about chaos versus calmness. Well, where does calmness got us? It gets us in trouble around the world. We're not strong. When you're strong and you're able to tell people, I'm going to do this to you, and they go, no, that's going to hurt my chances of being president of Mexico or Canada or wherever else we're talking about, they don't want that to happen. It's still politics. It's all politics. We see how politics are the power of everything, not just in our country, but the world. We are the strongest nation. Everyone's trying to take us down. We've been allowing them to take us down. If we stay strong, everybody comes to us, our economy does well, our people do well, then we have the ability to help others.
To me, this sounds like a perfect time to talk about the importance of a financial plan from the perspective that our lives individually are always constantly changing, right? Births, deaths, new jobs, retirement, this and that. And now on top of that, we have tremendous change in the world. So in order to keep some sense of calm, as you were saying, let's get a financial plan going, know where we're at so we know where we need to go.
I'm going to take it to the next step. It's not just a plan. You get the plan. It's how you're going to manage money, mitigating risk. One of the things we do is mitigate risk. I'm not going to lie. I don't like where we are right now. I think the markets are too high. I do think that between now and, say, April, we will have a pullback in the market, which will be a great buying opportunity. I do think that maybe in the month of December here, we could have a pullback. If not, it's going to happen in January or something. We're too high. Evaluations are too high. This is a Trump bump. It's there. Be smart. Be patient. But when that comes, don't be afraid to get in. I don't know if it's 5%, 10%, 15%. It's going to come. And when it comes hard and it comes fast. And most people get scared. I'm not going to get scared because I know the future is great. But the short run is a little bit troublesome.
Well, you know what scares me is not knowing
Right.
what my plan is.
Well, how do you mitigate risk? No one knows how to mitigate risk. I'm still making money while I'm mitigating risk. If it goes down, I just don't lose as much. And if it goes up, I don't make as much.
So how do we mitigate that risk is by creating a plan and following it. And that plan is evolving and changing. And I love that because it's unique to me. It's unique to you. It's not the same plan that they have. And this is going to tell me whether I'm on the right road or not. I'd rather know than not.
Right. And if you're 40 and 50, you have a different chance of mitigating risk differently than if you're 65, 70, or 80 years old, when you're already, this is my nest egg, I got to live off of it.
So first step is to give us a call, 520-544-4909. When they call you, you're going to tell them what they need, bring their statements, get to you. That's one meeting out of the next 4+ meetings. But this just gets us to know, in this world full of chaos, where we're at and get our own sense of calm.
100%. You need to know where you are so you feel good. Get rid of stress. Stress is not good for anybody. And remember, if you get rid of the stress, you get through it all, you mitigate risk, it goes down, you buy, it goes up, you sell. It's that simple.
I learn something every time we talk, and I hope you did too. And thank you so much for joining us today in Your Money Matters. We hope you'll join us for the next show.